hold up. If you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time.
More variety than you can imagine. Relax Radio.
The Chat Trap.
Wow, that scared me. That was so high. I was like, that's so fun. I really like
You
that.
know what? A very good morning to everybody listening in. This is Andrea and Jamie, that's me, on the chat app. And we have so many exciting things to talk to you about today. And Andrea is actually not in the studio, and she's actually out and about. And we're going to hear a lot of amazing things. We're going to be talking about the current situation in London, in UK, with regards to the whole, post-COVID life. Is it actually post-COVID? What we can do, what not? We have a lot of exciting things to talk about, and we want you to be a part of the show, okay? We want you to call us and let us know what's going on. Andrea, where exactly are you? Do you want to let everybody know where exactly you are?
Yeah, actually, I was walking a bit, and I just ended in a like area, like urban area where there's just house, and I'm surprised because I'm seeing like no one walking outside. I'm just seeing like I just saw until now like 2 to 3 people. Yeah, and when I see all the houses, like all the houses are the same. They just have the window open, so I'm guessing that people is inside because it's really hot to be outside.
Okay, so I have a question towards you. I have a question towards Andrea and every single other person listening in from the UK or even around the world, okay? First question is, Andrea, what is happening with regards to the COVID situation? Do you think that after 19th of July, Andrea, do we still have you with us? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is now, obviously, you're showing us around, and I don't see too many people either. So my question to
Yeah.
you is: do you think after the 19th of July, that was 2-3 days back, after all the legal restrictions were lifted with regards to COVID-19 in London, do you think that that was a huge difference? What is your perspective, being a teenager living in London? Do you think that there is any chance for life to go back to normal post COVID, or what life was before COVID? Do you think it could go back to normal? What is your perspective on this?
Oh, I think that, yeah, I think that right now because it's really hot, it's not people going out because we can see that it's really, really hot outside. To be honest, I just prefer to stay at home because I think it's more fresh. You feel more air.
Right,
So, but at
right.
night is where people go out, like to the parties and all that stuff because it's more fresh, as I said before. Yes, to be honest, I just go out outside just when it's nice because during the day it's really, really hot.
Right, right. No, I get what you mean. These days, so yesterday I think was the hottest day in the UK ever reported.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And Tuesday also was extremely hot. And yesterday we did talk about a few things that you can do to, just make sure that you cool the temperature down in your house or whatnot. And Andrea, I don't know if you agree with me, but there definitely is a heat wave that's going on around the world. And I told people that if they want to, if they basically want to experience something, experience a freshness or whatnot, they need to focus on their body temperature, not the temperature outside. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but I am
Yeah.
somebody that has lived in a tropical country for a really long time, and it's constantly like 28, 30 degrees back home, and it's always been hot. So one thing that I always do to make sure that my body temperature is low is always to have like cooling drinks, and that doesn't mean just like cold on the outside. It means like, drinks that cool your body from the inside, maybe like an iced tea. Chia seeds are really good. Chia seeds in water.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what that is, but chia seeds in water truly does help. Lemon in water helps as well. So things like these. I know it's really, really, really hot in London. It's really hot. Even if you're listening to us from around the world, it's super hot as well. So just focus on your body temperature as well. Focus on bringing down your body temperature with like the food you take and with the
Yeah.
drinks you drink. What other things do you do? I know in London it's super hot as well. You said you prefer to stay indoors, and I know you're not
Yeah.
somebody that likes to stay
Oh
indoors
wow. I think
anyways.
yeah, I think that my mom needs to listen to you because when it's really hot, I don't know why, but my mom always do. I'm gonna let's go. Everyone's gonna eat soup. today, and she made that really
Right.
really funny. When it's summer, you just want to eat salad that's fresh from the fridge, and you like
Like a
cold
nice
water.
cold orange
Yeah,
juice or
yeah,
something. Uh-huh. Okay, so we have some people listening in that I want to say a big hi to. First of all, big hi to everybody listening in. We got Alaha Vasaya. I hope I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, please do correct me. But thank you so much for being a part of the show. And they say very nice. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show. We will have Patrick listening in on Twitch, if I'm not mistaken, and he says that he's loving the conversation as well. Patrick, I want to know where you are from. How is your day going so far? Is it warm where you are, and how do you deal with this heat wave? How do you deal with this temperature? Go ahead and let us know. Call us up on 07852 473 473, or just leave a comment down below, just like Allah, because Allah is also talking to us. Thank you again for being a part of the show. Now, Andrea, going back to the
yes.
conversation, with regards to masks, now, have you been going around London? Have you seen people wearing masks? What's the situation?
Mm, okay, so now as I'm telling you, I don't see so many people going out, but when I see people, no one is wearing masks because, to be honest, I don't wear masks when it's summer as well. And in winter, yes, because it's cold and you just want to cover your mouth and feel
Right.
hot. But now I think that no one's wearing either in the transport, and I think that is not like really necessary now, like as the government says. But sometimes I do wear because I know that is still important. But yeah. I think the people
Yes.
that are still walking around here, no one is with mask.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no one.
Oh, okay. So I was assuming that people would still be wearing masks because, according to like the legal restriction in the UK, you're not legally required to wear a mask anymore. But I did
Yeah.
think that people are going to be afraid, and they're going to be wearing masks, but apparently not. Apparently that's not the case, which I guess is okay because we gotta go back to normal someday, and people just decided that they don't need masks, which is fine. But Andrea, I think we still need to remind people to stay safe. We need to still remind people to be safe as possible. If you do have symptoms, like I always say, make sure that you take, you do something about it. You go get a PCR because that's available. You could do that because we can stop the spread of COVID-19, and we can actually go back to what life was before COVID-19.
Yeah, definitely. As right now, so just people cycling and no one's wearing masks. And I think oh yeah, I remember that when I was in college, like this year at the end, like at the last 3 end months, and no the college said that you cannot wear mask if you want because it's allowed. I think and so many people like my classmates and all of them, they didn't wear masks because it's summer, and if the government says it's not necessarily, I think that people just leave that.
Right, right. Okay. So I guess that does make sense. I mean, if the government doesn't legally require you to wear a mask,
Yeah.
that's because there's a given reason for it, right? So yeah, that definitely does make sense not wearing a mask. But at the end of the day, we want to know what you're thinking. Do you agree with this whole new law that came up? Or, do you agree with the fact that all of these legal restrictions have been lifted as of the 19th of July? Do you agree with it? What is your take on it? Do you still opt to wear a mask in London, or do you not? I know in Scotland, in Wales, in Ireland, there is still a legal requirement to wear a mask if you're going on in public transport, or if you're, in a public space, you're still told to wear a mask. But I'm glad that in England, at least, things look like it's going back to normal because, like I told you, we had this discussion yesterday, right? It's so weird to see people without a mask now because I'm so used to seeing people
Yes.
cover their faces, and sometimes I forget to smile because I'm like, oh, Jamie, no point smiling because you got a mask on anyway. But now I'm just like, no mask. You have to smile at people. You need to stop making weird facial expressions.
I know that's the thing. Like I think that I was the people that before I don't remember what to do like when I'm without mask in the transport because I'm like I don't know what to say or what to do with my mouth because when you are with a mask you feel like freedom. I just sing in my song because I said okay, no one is gonna see me, no one's gonna notice. I'll just sing in my song and no one's listening. But now I can't do that. I'm like what am I gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah, I completely relate to you because when I travel, so when I come to and from work, and sometimes I do use public transport, and I listen to my music, right? I put my AirPods in and I'm listening to my music, and because I have the mask, I like mouth the words,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
like nobody can see me, so it's not weird. But like now we don't have to wear a mask, and I'm like randomly saying something, and nobody can hear me, and they think I'm crazy, but I'm actually just
Yeah.
singing along to a song. So yeah, those are different problems that we have with no masks. But I think at the end of the day, all of us are super happy. All of us are excited that we don't have to wear masks anymore. And yeah, we just want to talk about. We're going to get on over to a little break, but let's talk about who has to self isolate. Who, even if you have the vaccine, even though we have no legal restrictions, which of you have to self isolate? Let's talk about that for a second. We do have a lot more interesting things to talk about, but for right now, we're going to head on over to a little break.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account. And then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Hold up. If you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time.
More variety than you can imagine. Relax Radio.
The Chat Trap.
Good morning to everybody listening in. How is everybody doing, Andrea? Andrea, are you here with us or is it stuck? I'm trying to figure out. Okay, Andrea's going to take a minute to join us. But listen, we do have a lot of interesting things to talk about. Andrea actually isn't in the studio today. She's doing something a little bit different. She has been showing us around London. She's been talking to us about, what is happening.
Yeah,
Okay,
I just decided to do a little.
Yeah, I think there's a little
Sorry.
delay. Andrea. Okay, but whatever it is, at the end of the day, we have Andrea who is in and around London. She's been taking us around London, talking to us about, what's going on and if people, how people are actually
Wow.
living post-COVID.
Oh my god, I couldn't.
I think Andrea's a little
Yeah,
stuck, huh? Okay, that's okay.
yeah.
So,
Wow. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, now finally. Yeah, I'm decided to do a little work because the day is really amazing. You can see that it's really sunny.
right.
Yeah, I just crossed like some people, as I told you, and they are just biking or I don't know, like the rubbish. But yeah, it's really nice. I think that today, if people are in London, they should go out right now because you can enjoy the summer because in winter you can see that there is no summer, so you don't take color, you are not tan. You need vitamin D, and I think that now is the perfect day to go out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of people during winter, everybody's just like, oh, it's too cold. We wish we had sun. And then when the sun finally comes out, everybody's like, oh no, it's too hot. But what me and Andrea are telling, I know it's super hot outside, so make sure that you do wear your sunscreen. Make sure that you're safe. Make sure that you carry water wherever you go because it is really hot out there. We do have a heat wave in some parts of the UK and most parts of the world. Actually, there is a heat wave going on. So what I do want to remind you is firstly to be safe, carry. Oh wow, it looks beautiful there, Andrea. It looks so
I
peaceful. The
know.
sky is so beautiful. Oh yeah, it looks like, you on those postcards, the kind of pictures that you see, that's exactly what it looks like. Thank you for sharing all of this with us,
Oh my god, the
Andrea.
audio, I can't hear you very well, but yeah, it's really beautiful today. I think that there is a park close to here, so maybe I can go there. But yeah,
Maybe
I
we
mean,
should
if
go to
people
the
that's in
park.
the UK by now, they should really.
Yeah, during the next break, maybe you can take us to the park and show us if people are actually in the park or they're in their air-conditioned homes because it's way too hot to go outside now. But whatever it is, what Andrea and I want to remind you is to kind of go outside, okay? It is a beautiful day. We have so many beautiful things happening in London, and finally, we're kind of experiencing life post-COVID-19, at least in England, because as we've been talking about, all the legal restrictions, rather, all the legal restrictions have been lifted in London, which is absolutely an amazing thing. I think we lost Andrea for a second there. I think she's going to take us to like a park in London so that we kind of get like an idea of what life is like post COVID-19. But definitely, one thing that I do want to keep you informed is that with regards to COVID-19, a lot of people have been having this question: who has to self isolate? And a lot of people are like, oh, if I'm fully vaccinated, why is it required for me to self isolate? Well, I just want to give you a rundown and just give you a better understanding of what is happening with the COVID situation and what's happening with, like, self isolation, who still needs to self isolate. And the first people that do need to isolate for 10 days, there's a whole list of people that the government of England has spoken about. We have Andrea joining again. Let's see if it works. It works. Okay, Sandra is going to take. Oh, okay. Andrea was back with us.
Okay, yeah. Wow, sorry about that. I think that the connection is a bit bad because it's a bit
I
windy.
know.
But yeah.
Right. No, that's
Do you
completely
know that?
understandable.
Yeah, there is two. I think that maybe it's because there's two train stations here. Like one is there, and there is another one close to here. But yeah, I think that when I want to go out, I just find an excuse to go out. Either like, oh, my shoes looks nice. I need to, I don't know, it looks new. I need to make something with that. But yeah, I said that. I just, and then like when I go out and without like finding an excuse, at the end of the day, I just make new friends, and I think that that's nice.
I mean, yeah, that completely works if you have new friends. I mean, if you have new shoes, that's a perfectly good excuse to go out as well. But I think I think what we're trying to tell you is go outside. I know it's super hot, but at least towards the evening when it's not too hot, just go outside, breathe the fresh air. Oh my goodness, we've been talking about how to cope with stress, how to cope with anxiety, and one of the best ways to deal with all of this is by going outside. I mean, Andrea, I've told you this before, but if I'm having a really, really, really hard day, what I do is if I can have like a window or something, I just go sit there, or I just go outside, outside our office, outside the studio. Actually, there's a beautiful little area with like a little swing. I love to just go sit there because, oh my goodness, nature can do wonders, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there is a dog there. I wish I could say hi to the dog.
Do you like dogs?
To be honest, I'm a bit scared. Oh, there's another dog as well. There's 3. Because when I live in Bolivia, when I live in Bolivia, like some of my family had a farm, so I just always say, "Oh, I want to say hi to the cows and the kids and the chickens and all that," but I just get really, really scared and just leave them because I said they're gonna make me run. I don't want to run.
I mean, okay, that's a whole different scenario right there. I mean, you know what? Andrea loves dogs, but she's afraid of dogs. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know your standpoint. She's showing us, oh, that's so beautiful. You know those pictures in postcards? The little postcards that you send people. This looks like at least when the camera was a few minutes before. Ooh, the sky is so pretty. It looks like the picture of a postcard. That's how beautiful it is. The sky looks so
that's
clear.
Nice. Yeah.
How hot is it, Andrea?
I think it's 30 degrees, and that's too much for me because I don't know. I normally hate like 10, 12, and now that 30, like the double is so much.
Right.
How is it? Because how is the weather there?
Okay, so I think not just in England but around the world it is extremely hot. Like I know countries like India and especially like Sri Lanka also, we are facing heat wave after heat wave, and I know heat wave doesn't sound too scary, but heat waves can truly be scary because people are dying because of heat waves. So be safe as possible. It's not good for the direct sunlight is not good for your skin. So like I always say, make sure that you do wear your sunscreen, that you carry a bottle of water because dehydration is super easy to be dehydrated during this time. And yeah, Andrea, I think we need to remind everybody to drink water. Like I cannot stress enough how important it is to drink water. With that being said, Andrea, I think we should head on over to a little break. When we come back though, we do have a lot of interesting things to talk about, so make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relaks Radio.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so with different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no. If that makes sense. They can't
accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you, how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset. And when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young, well, I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, he might say to me, you had one to forget. That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter, yeah.
He'd say to me, you had one to forget. Get over it. And that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much a lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure. And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. it makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Girls, ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts mainly one because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar after.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Girls, ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
Hold up, if you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time.
More variety than you can imagine. Relax Radio.
The Chat Trap.
A very good morning and welcome back to the show. How is everybody doing? Hope you are having yourself an amazing day so far. We have a very special thing that's happening today that hasn't happened in the studio before, and that's Andrea has been taking us around London. She's been showing us around. She's been, just taking us around and showing us around. And we want to thank Andrea so much. Thank you for showing us everything that's happening, everything that's going on. And Andrea, I just want to ask you, do you are you feeling, does it feel like what life was before this whole COVID-19 thing started? Does it kind of feel like that? Does it kind of feel like it's going back to what life was pre-COVID-19, at least in London? Andrea, do we have you still with us?
Oh my God. Oh, I hear you very well. But yeah, I think you said something related with COVID. I don't know if can you hear me?
I can hear you really well. Okay, so I think we're having a little bit of connection issues. But Andrea, what I wanted to ask you was, does it feel like what life was before COVID-19? Like, because there's no any legal restrictions anymore, does it kind of feel like life is getting back to normal? What is your perspective?
Hi.
Okay, I think we're having a kind of connection issues. We'll probably get Andrea to maybe go into an area that has better connection. But before that, we did want to talk to you. What Andrea and I did want to talk to you about is, everything's going back to normal. There is no legal restrictions anymore, which means that we can, go back to what life was before COVID-19. And one of the biggest problems that, I don't know, one of the biggest problems that I myself have faced in this entire situation, one of the biggest problems that I have encountered is how to balance work and life. Because, before COVID-19, we've never spent so much time at home. We've never gotten used to working from home. But after COVID-19, I feel like the balance between life and work has become so blur that we don't even know what to do, and we don't even know how to draw that line between work and life. And it is definitely a problem that all of us have faced at some point post COVID-19, which is why when Andrea was there also, we wanted to talk to you about little things that you can do in order to, have a better work-life balance. Okay, now I'm going to tell you like a personal experience again. For me personally, I feel like because of COVID-19 and because we had to self-isolate ourselves and because we had to work from home and we had to engage in remote work, you know how if you were at an office, your work finishes sharp at, 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the evening. And you always had a time where, okay, I'm done with work now. I go home, I spend time with my friends, I spend time with my family, I do things for myself. And, that's the kind of idea that you had, right? But I feel like because of COVID-19, there has been a real issue because, we have bosses that send us messages at whatever time because they think that, oh, working from home just means working all the time. And therefore, I believe that this whole work-life balance situation has become a really blur, or the boundary between work and life has got a really, really blur, which is what we want to talk to you about. We want to talk about how you as an individual can maintain a better work-life balance. This is definitely something that we are going to be talking about in a second. And this conversation is definitely a conversation that you need to hear out. So make sure that you be a part of the show. Right now, though, I'm going to head on over to a little break.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you've got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different, right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws to different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Broadcasting worldwide. Relax Radio.
The Chat Trap.
A very good day to you, and welcome back to the show. This is the Chat Trap on Relax Radio. How is everybody doing? How is your day going so far? Andrea, I hope the connection is better now. Can you hear me good?
Yes, finally,
Oh
I
my
can hear you
goodness,
finally.
yes. Finally, we've been having such issues with the connection because she's been walking around. She's been showing us around London, and oh my goodness, the connection has been so bad. But finally, I'm able to hear you and I'm able to talk to you, and it's so nice to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing
Thank
with us
you.
your thoughts and your opinions about everything post COVID-19. Where exactly are you now?
Don't ask that. I just don't know how I came into this house. I just saw someone living. I said I need good connection, so I just say, "Oh, can you hold the door for me?" And they just hold. And now I'm inside. It's one of those houses
What?
that I'm showing you. I know.
I mean, anything for Relax Radio. Oh my God, that's
Of course.
hilarious. Anything for Relax Radio. This is how far people will go for Relax Radio. Because listen, what we are trying to do rather is to give you a good time. We're trying to give you a good show. And it doesn't matter whose house we go into, we try to go
No,
and
it
talk
doesn't
to you.
matter.
Like,
That's the last
that's our
thing.
dedication. That's how dedicated we are.
Of course. I mean, I think that if you love your work, your job, your work, what you do, I think you're gonna do the best thing as you can now. As I said, just go into anyone's house. They don't know you. You don't know them. It's all right. It's all right.
It's oh my gosh! Please don't talk to strangers. Young, I hope no children are watching and they're like, Andrea told us to go into random people's houses. Don't go to random people's houses, please. Don't talk to strangers. I mean, be nice to people, but please don't walk into people's houses. Andrea, stop giving a bad example. You know what, but Andrea, you spoke about loving your work, and I think that is so
Yeah.
beautiful because earlier on we were talking about, we've been talking about the life post COVID-19, and I was talking about how work and life, they need to be two separate things. You can't mix life into work, you can't mix work into life. They need to be two separate things. And we were at least I was talking about how or what we can do to kind of have a balance of work and life. Because have you felt that I was telling people, because of COVID-19, I felt like having to work at home kind of messed up this whole work life balance because I'd get emails at 10 in the night and early in the morning because we're working from home, so we need to be available anytime, and that kind of messed up this whole work life balance. What is your perspective? Do you think it's the
Wow.
same in your case?
I think that I think my mom will say to me, like, Andrea, you need to find a good job that you are good at and you really love that. Otherwise, you are not gonna do your job in the correctly way. So I think that that's what I did, and I really like this job because I'm doing something that I really like it, and I studied that. So I think that as you said, like, it's not to relate your work with your family or your personal things, and I think that that's really important for people because sometimes I think that they're related. I don't know, they start working with their parents or their friends, and when something bad happens there, everything's gonna mess it up. And you are maybe you can lose that friendship or that relationship because it's quite hard to keep that balance, in my opinion. I think so.
No. I completely agree with you, Andrea. When it comes to, you said, it's hard because sometimes the personal life gets involved in the work life and you don't know when to draw the line. But one thing you said is so beautiful that I completely agree with. You said for you, how it made it easier for you to, balance work and life or whatnot was to pick a job that you actually like to do. Right. And I think that's so important. That's something that people don't understand. That's something that people forget to remember. Everybody's like, oh, this job pays more, so let me just do this job. Or this job is more recognized by society. People like this job better, so let me just do this job. And I don't think that's the way to do it. That's definitely not how you should function. If you want to be happy, if you want to have that work-life balance, like Andrea said, the first thing that you need to do is to actually love what you do, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because as you can see, like I think that the best people, like the best musicians, are doing something that they really love. And when you do something that you really love, you do it the best way that you can. Because it's
Oh,
something that you are passionate with.
yeah, true. Passion drives your success. That's my belief. So do something that you're passionate about. And the other thing is, when it comes to, we've been talking about work-life balance. The other thing that I want people to remember is to prioritize their time. Right now, this is something that a lot of us forget. We have like, we've been talking about to-do lists. Now, this is something that I do again. Which is why I want to talk to people about. I forget to prioritize things, right? So I always have to-do lists. I make a list of things that I'm supposed to do, and I have like a 50 things on this, but I forget to like, now say I have 50 things on it. I forget to say, okay, this is more important than the next one, and I forget to like prioritize things, and I forget to say, this is what I need to do first. This is what's most important. I forget to do that, and that can really, really, really mess with this whole work-life balance that we've been talking about. So yeah, definitely another thing that people can do to have a work-life balance is to prioritize time, in my opinion. Figure
Yeah.
out your tasks based on how important they are and accomplish them based on how important they are, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that that's really true because for my own experience, I do like not a to-do list, but something like that, and I do with the time because I do the first things really early, what I really care about, and I leave I think the not most important thing, but something that I do care for the last, like at the night or something like that. That's why I go to the gym at 5 a.m., then work, then eat, then I think spend time with my family because I think that that's really important as well to have balance. Because I work it like once really like Monday to Friday, like 9 to 5, and I end really really bad because I said this is not working for me. I don't like the people who I work with, and I just leave that. And I think that that's really important. If you don't like something, just left that, and if you can find another job, it's not the end of an era. So yeah, I think that
Oh,
that could help.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you, Andrea. You spoke about personal time, for spending time with your family, never compromising your personal time for a job that you don't like. That should never be the case. So if you're listening in, okay, and if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to call my family, I don't have time to spend with my friends because my work is so, I'm working all the time and I don't have time to do anything else, then you need to seriously figure something out. You need to seriously do something because that is not good. It is not good to just have work all the time. um
Yeah.
even though like I don't know, I feel like people are like, oh, you work for 10 hours, that's amazing, how are you so strong? It's so like over glorified, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because I don't know, as we always say that we need balance. So you can relate that with your own experience, and when you do, you can realize things. I think. Oh, I want to show you like how it looks like from the part that I am right now, like from this house. It's really hot
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
Ah,
It's gonna
more
take a second, but
camera.
don't worry. It's connection. Let's just blame it. Ooh.
Yay!
Oh, it's so beautiful, huh?
I think I'm gonna stay in this house. Oh, I thought
Okay, so for
someone
people
was
who are
going.
just tuning in, for everybody that's just tuning in, Andrea just like walked into a house because we were having connection issues, and she decided to go into house and ask that amazing people if she can, stay in their house for a little bit and do a show. So, I mean, kudos to Andrea. You have a lot of guts to do that. But that's how
No, no,
dedicated
no.
she is.
The thing is that I just say, "Oh, can you hold the door for me?" Because they thought that I live here, so they just automatically hold that. I'm just coming in, like, oh, it's my house. I'm just gonna go upstairs. That's it.
Right. No, but you showed us outside and it looks like such a beautiful day. We've been talking about work-life balance. We've been talking about how to live a better life. And I think, yeah, one of the most important things is to just go outside. It's so
Yeah,
beautiful. I know it's really hot, but oh my goodness, put on some sunscreen, drink some cold water, and go outside and take it in because this sun is not going to be there for a long time. We don't have sun in London, and just enjoy it while it lasts. That's my opinion, at least.
definitely. I think that you said something really important, which is sunscreen. I think that not everyone is really taking care about that. Like people since they started the skincare routine and all that stuff on Instagram, people just realize that that's really important. And me too, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I forget my sunscreen sometimes. Also, I've been reading about how people are really dehydrated these days. How, you need
Oh.
to have like extra water. I know the amount of water I think for a person that a person needs to drink per day is like 2 liters of water. But drink more water. Yes, yes, girl. Carry a bottle of water around just like Andrea. Keep yourself hydrated and more. What I want to remind you the most is make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio.
Yeah, wow. I think that soon the time that we just need to live. But thank you so much. And I really enjoyed this because we have something different at the work and you can see
Yeah.
how it's London.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something different. It was on the same old studio. You guys got to see around, everybody listening in got to see around as well. But it's about the time that we say goodbye. Tomorrow, though, we're going to be here yet again talking to you about a lot of interesting things. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. But for now, bye.
Bye.